Hey, welcome. This is one of the most difficult conversations a parent can have, but it's also one of the most important. What do you do when you are the one carrying the weight? When the other parent is absent, toxic, or harmful? When their presence or their lack of it is damaging your child in ways you can't always fix? I know this pain intimately. And today we are going to talk about what it really looks like and how to protect your child's heart, mind, and future when you are the only one showing up. First, let's name it. There are many forms this can take. The first one, addiction. The parent is consumed by drugs or alcohol and cannot be present, consistent, or safe. There's not much no one can do about that. That's a very personal journey. And when they are ready to fight it, they will. Otherwise, no matter what you do, no matter what your child does, it's not going to be fixed. They have to be ready, and they are the ones who have to do the work, but our children sometimes blame themselves or feel less than because they feel like the parent is choosing drugs over them. It's hard for them to understand all the context and everything that surrounds addiction. And then there's mental illness. Because when untreated, it can cause emotional instability, aggression, paranoia, or total emotional detachment. There's the parents who are narcissistic, or they abuse people emotionally. That's the parent who gaslights, controls, manipulates, or constantly belittles the child. There's also abandonment or death. Whether by choice or tragedy, the child experiences the profound absence that leaves deep emotional wounds. Or when there's incarceration or legal estrangement, the parent is removed from the child's life physically or legally. Sometimes it is you who has to start that action if you consider that your child is in danger around that parent, and that's like double pain for you and for your child. Because even though you know that you did what you needed to do, what's best for your child, it still hurts. You know the perception they are going to have, like my mom put my daddy in jail or my daddy put my mommy in jail. And there's also the passive enablers. The parent isn't overly abusive but allows harmful patterns to persist by doing nothing. Or even contradicting the other parent who wants to discipline the child when they take something away from them because it's bad for them, or if they don't allow them to go somewhere because they know it's dangerous. And still they don't care what the other parent thinks, or if they had a previous agreement, and still they don't care. They rather be their child's friend than to commit to parent that child with discipline and with consistency. It's easier to just be, go easy on them and just, whatever you want, whatever you like. It doesn't take much to do that. We want to see our children happy, right? But sometimes that happy is not safe. And even though we have to let them, make their own mistakes, that's fine. But when their life is in danger, if their mental health is in danger, that's when we need to intervene. That's when we are the adults in the relationship. Because their prefrontal cortex is not fully developed. They need us around. They need us to survive. It's that simple. But we have to do it. They have plenty of friends. They don't need us to be their friend. They need us to be their parent. We can have friendly attitude with them. We can do friendly things. But we are their parent. How are our kids affected by all of this? Well, emotionally, children blame themselves. They internalize rejection. They feel unworthy of love. And they start thinking things like, If that didn't stay, maybe I wasn't worth staying for. If mom only yells or ignores me, maybe I'm the problem. These beliefs these kids have become silent, toxic mantras. They repeat these things to themselves over and over. And over time, they become habits. They become mantras. They can really hear this voice in their heads when they're trying to do something. Kids blame themselves as a survival mechanism, because if the parent is bad, for them that would mean my parent can abandon me. They're not going to take care of me. And that's a very scary thought for them to have, because they depend on us to survive. So they rather think they are the problem because that doesn't put them in danger in their eyes. Then relationally, they struggle to trust others, or they become overly attached, desperate to not be abandoned again. And they often act out in other relationships to test loyalty or control connection. This is how toxic codependent relationships are born. This attachment they have, when it's not fulfilled when they are kids are supposed to be attached to us because they need us to survive. But then that has to stop once they are adults and they are self-reliant. They can take care of themselves, or it should. But when it doesn't, that's when they develop these toxic relationships. If we stop them on time, we can prevent them from having those types of relationships later on. Then academically, emotional turmoil spills into school. Grades drop. Focus disappears. They feel shame and frustration. Nobody likes to admit, even to themselves, like, I am the kid who was abandoned. I'm the kid who was being neglected. I'm a kid who nobody gets a damn about. They feel these things. They think these things. It's shameful for them because they feel unworthy. They feel like other people are more than them. They have more value than they do, even though it's absolutely not true. And then teachers might label them as lazy or troubled, when in all reality, they're just in survival mode. Physically, they develop chronic stress that causes them headaches, stomach issues, insomnia, or anxiety attacks. Because trauma lives in the body. It stays in the body. And then the body starts to talk. It says, I don't want this thing. I don't want this thing in here. Just get it out. Get it out. And the way body talks is by, giving us pain and discomfort. So when if there's no infection, if there's no bacteria going around, if there's no viruses going around or anything, and your kid starts to get sick too often or to complain about pains when there's no an apparent cause of that, we can make a checkup with them. Ask questions. Where is this coming from? Are you stressed about something? Is there anything else you would like to tell me? Always do a checkup. Then spiritually, many kids begin questioning if the world is safe. And they might think it's better to just quit, stop existing. They question if love is real, if they might ever feel loved, and even if they matter. This is where the true danger of suicidal thoughts and suicidal actions show. And this is when we can show them all of this. It's not just tell them, we can show them, yes, you matter, yes, you are here for a reason, and yes, my world will never ever be the same without you. I need you in my life. I need you in my world. Please don't ever go away. They need to hear this from us. Even when they appear that they don't, they do. Now it comes the part that matters the most. What can you do as the present, safe, committed parent? The first thing, tell the truth. Gently and age appropriately. But tell them the truth. When kids don't know things, they fill up those voids with whatever ideas they have. And many times it's not nice ideas. So if you don't tell them why their father or their mother is not there anymore, they're going to figure something out. They're just going to come up with something that makes sense to them in their heads. And many times it's not something positive. And that's how these intrusive thoughts are born, and they become negative and negative. They become more and more negative. So we have to tell them the truth, no matter what it is. Our kids are stronger than we think. They are more resilient, and they can take more than what we think. Us not believing in them, that can cause real harm. We give them being condescending with them. It's like telling them you're not capable of dealing with this. Like you're too young, or you're too sensitive, or you're too whatever. And if we tell them what's going on, and that means in a way we are showing them like, yeah, you can deal with it. You can handle this. You're strong, and you and I together, we are going to be okay. You and I are going to just live our lives in such a way that people are going to be asking us, like, what do you guys do that you always look like that? I want a piece of that. They need to hear all these things. But more like anything, they need to know the truth, even when it's hard. So don't ever like to protect the toxic parent image. When they figure things out, they are going to blame you. They're going to call you a liar. And they're going to resent you for allow them to create an image of a person that is not the reality. They can deal with real. They don't want to be lied to. I worked with this mom. She had a teenage boy. Then she moved to another city. And the father of this child, he just abandoned him, like emotionally abandoned him, even though they were far away. But at the beginning, he would call him, and he would send things on his birthday or Christmas, and he would go visit him once in a while. And then he just stopped. He just never called. He stopped sending gifts. And this child started to question, like, why is this happening? What did I do? And mom, what she did is she would send things over in the mail. Like when it was Christmas and his birthday, she would be the one buying the toy and sending it to him. She meant well. She thought she was doing the kid a favor. She thought that that's what she needed to do to balance her kid, because she noticed there was something going on with him. And then the kid figured it out. And he called her all the names in the book, which is very wrong, but he did. Because he was very mad. And he was not even as mad as his dad as he was mad at her because she lied to him. And in his pain, I guess, he said, "You have never believed in me. You always treat me like I'm a baby." And he even said that he wanted to move with his dad, who was not even showing that he cared. He was not even acknowledging that this boy was alive. And even so, he wanted to go with him because at that very moment he was hurt. He was deeply hurt. So they are working on repairing that relationship, and it's going pretty well for them. But that was like the worst thing this mom could do for this boy, and she thought it was the right thing to do. So don't like to protect that toxic parent's image. Just let your kid see them for who they are. You don't have to add to it also. Like you don't have to say bad things about them, tell your opinion about that situation unless your kid asks you. But they already have a negative image of them, well deserved probably. So we don't need to add anything because it's painful. And hearing it from you, it's even more painful. So just be honest. Just state facts. Like your dad struggles with things that make it hard for him to be the parent you need. And that's not your fault. You didn't cause it and you can't fix it. And this last part is very important. They sometimes think they can fix their parent. They go into parental mode, and instead of being the ones who need to be cared for, they become the ones who are taking care of that parent. And that's also not good for them. They don't have to do that, and they cannot fix them. That's something they have to have it very clear in their heads. That person with the addiction is the only one who can do something about it, if they so choose. If not, then sometimes we just have to wait for them to hit rock bottoms so that they can start rising up. This other really powerful thing you can do for your child: create a stable and loving environment. Consistency is your superpower, because structure plus love equals safety. And your child needs to know what to expect. That takes a lot of the anxiety out of the situation. When they can predict your responses, their nervous system relaxes. Kids like predictability. They always like to know what's next. This is another very important hard step, is to build their self-worth. Tell them often, oh, you are good. You are worthy of love. You are not the choices other people make. But more than telling them, we have to show them. Like I've said before, kids think that we tell them all these things because it's our job as their moms. Like we see them in a different way than other people do. Or we have to show them that that's just not true. They are great. They are awesome. But we have to let them know when they are being awesome, when they are doing nice stuff. And if we can't think of anything, we have to create that situation. I'm going to give you an example. If you make them do a chore that you know they can do, and that it's going to make your day like way better. It's going to make you be more productive or feel better physically or emotionally, and have them do that thing for you. And then let them know how it went, and let them know how that changed your day, how important that was. And if they weren't there, your day wouldn't be as awesome as it was. But it was awesome because they were there. Like you tell them to wash your car. Like you're going to have dinner with your friends, and your car is very dirty. You tell them, can you please wash my car? I'm embarrassed to go see my friends with my car looking like that. It would mean the world to me if you can wash it. And you are so detail oriented and you do all these things so well. Let's think that that's the reality. We don't say things we don't mean. And then after they're done washing the car, you can go like, oh my god, look at this, looks like brand new, thank you so much. You come back from seeing your friends, and everybody was complimenting my car. They even thought that it was brand new. Of course, this makes sense. Like, let's not overdo it, because then it's counterproductive. They're going to say that you're just BSing me right now. Just in a way that sounds good and makes sense, but I hope you get it with this. Just create situations where they do great, when they do great things that make somebody's life better. Look for volunteering opportunities. Get them to go to a nursing home and read books to the elderly who live there and they're lonely, like nobody visits them. To help in an animal shelter. To go and feed the homeless. Or go and cut the lawn for your elderly neighbor who doesn't have anybody to do it. Things that lift their spirit and allow them to see all the good they can do in the world. All the things they can do every day to make somebody's life better that day. That's going to build their self-worth more than anything. They are experiencing. Nobody needs to tell them or give them fake compliments, or just because somebody left them, that doesn't mean they are not worthy. If they see that, then they are going to believe it. I really encourage you to do that. And when they do these things, just affirm them. And then I encourage them to do more, because they can and because it feels great. At the beginning, you can let them borrow your belief in them when theirs is missing, but then help them to build up their belief in them with real stuff. That's what works the best. Also, teach them boundaries. Even if the toxic parent is still in their life, you can teach your child what's okay and what's not. Teach them they are allowed to say no, to speak up, and to ask for help. There's this behavior is very common in abusive parents or in toxic parents. When they do something that they shouldn't be doing, they tell the kids like, oh, don't tell your mom, don't tell your dad. If you do, then that means you don't love me. That means that they are your favorite and I'm not. And I'm just gonna go because what's the point? Why should I stay? So imagine how that child feels. And they keep secrets because of that. And if they need help but we don't know, we can help them. Sometimes just asking questions can help them to open up with us. And even we can say it like that. Are they asking you to keep secrets? If we suspect something's going on. Like, there's nothing you can tell me that it's going to make me love you less. There's nothing you can tell me that I can't handle. So they can trust it. They can trust that you are a safe harbor for them to open up and to share. That you can handle it and they're not gonna get in trouble. And, well, get support. You are carrying a heavy load, very heavy load. And you don't have to do this alone. If this is your child's situation, get them therapy. Get them a good therapist. Somebody who can really help them. You can monitor this. Like if your child, at the beginning many times they resist going to therapy, that's normal. But then as they continue with session and session, they get better. They feel understood. They feel connection with the therapist and they look forward to their sessions. That's a very good green flag. If you see that in your therapist, that means that they are really helping them and you got it the first time. If not, then don't blame yourself. You didn't know. And many times there's nothing wrong with that therapist. They were just not the right fit for each other. Their characters don't align and that's okay. Just go and look for the next one. Don't be afraid to fire them. I'm sure they also rather you firing them if they know they really can't help your child. So there are support groups also available. If that other parent is struggling with addiction, go to Al-Anon meetings. You and your child can go to those meetings. And they are so important when there's addiction in the home. It's healthy for your kid to understand what addiction is. If I'm not mistaken, they only allow this in teenage kids, not younger kids. I'm not sure, but you can look that up. These family members, they share stories about their beloved ones, somebody in their family, somebody they love that are struggling with addiction, and how that drives the whole family crazy. It's not just a solo problem. Addiction affects the whole family, same as mental health. If one of the parents has an addiction problem, that's going to affect everybody financially, emotionally, mentally, even physically, because many of them are abusive, physically abusive, emotionally abusive, verbally abusive. That happens a lot. They're going to be spending money on drugs and alcohol, stealing, selling, jewelry or family valuables to get the drugs. So it should be treated like that, not only for the person who has the addiction, but for everybody. And I can't tell you enough good things about the Al-Anon meetings. You can learn why the person with the addiction act the way they are. You can see how it's not personal. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with your child. That's just their struggles. That's how addiction works in their body. And of course, you can also do coaching for you. A coach can guide you step by step, can walk the path with you, and be the eyes for you. Because it's hard to see when we are in trauma also. It's hard to see when we have all these problems. We just lose perspective. We just see whatever we have like right in front of us. And having a trusted second party walking with us can bring all this wisdom that we already have inside. We're just not able to see in that moment. We don't see very clearly. So having a coach always helps. Because this work is not easy. But it's easier if you do it with help. So if you are watching this, I already know one thing. You haven't given up. And that makes all the difference. Because you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be real, consistent, and committed. Even if the other parent failed them, you still have the power to change the trajectory of your child's life. Your presence matters. Your voice matters. And when your child sees you fighting for them, even when it's hard, they learn that they are worth fighting for. If this video spoke to you, please subscribe and share it with someone who needs it. And if your child is struggling with suicidal thoughts, depression, or hopelessness because of the emotional chaos at home, I can help. I offer one-on-one coaching for parents like you who are carrying the weight of healing alone. You don't have to do this by yourself. So book a free discovery call with me today and be a mama bear. Take action because indifference kills.